Eja ye tie bi. Yenko eye NAPO odina chewpa aba. Amanfo send chewpa no kra na ye 419. NAPO hu sensem yente wonka wom. Yentie wo.
I think that my catch my dream, but I think that it's quite unfortunate, Dr. Ren, to be very honest. You see, issue, when it happens like this, sometimes I just don't want us to dwell on the individual.
Yeah.
You see, growing up, my father, I am a staunch supporter of the MPP, very staunch. And growing up, they're not met to my man say, you can't MPP, you win him before, you were catch for your way. That has always been the argument, and not omeki. And San Seminole echo Nipa Bebra, I him Abba Bessin now until I could afford to take you over. And I think the mom will make it the argument in the could be a free home because we have the men, no, we say, I bet than station boys. So, party now, what catches such a need of intellectualism around itself, you might want to see this need reflecting in Kwanya of Aswa or in the leadership. And to me, Bawumia in 2016, 2020, I'm go into election. 2016, our partner Akufo-Addo. You see, there was something that was very fundamental. Akufo-Addo made it clear, say, oh no, or a lawyer, and when it comes to economics, then as a former, and then it failed. So the only reason why the Bawumia ban is partner, not the weakness na economic side, this guy will cover for it. That and presidency didn't suppose you don't just choose anybody for vote. You look at your weaknesses as a leader, and then you choose somebody or that a strength or a complement you. Then you make a whole. Bawumia ba ye ne o hese the Ghana economy na se foi ayeya. Amani pano dodo na eni ahotoso woni mu. He has issues with trust. A man for issues with competence. A man for integrity crisis. Whole lot. Or as an individual. Or try say obet me a sell message. Obet me a Ghana for agena to say. Even though no ye Akufo-Addo running mate there. Na or your mate. Na say Ghana for the Kenya no mana. Obet me a something different. And so we see campaign now or any na. That is the message here. And when you look at him, because of the involvement and how bad the Akufo-Addo government has performed, especially in the economic front, Ghana for to do na near hotoso winimu. And this all person ukofa obi etnebe partner such a person. Dr. Ren, common sense will dictate to you, sir. You look at somebody. These weaknesses about Bawumia make us say whether you like it or not, or present it as a candidate in no. Somebody who cover for all these things. Because Mekaipa Abra 2008, President Mills, the president, Now there were a lot of people who argue, say, or near Hoden, or Yare, or Yesay. But in a running mate then, John Mahama was a young man then. Now man for Huna. I say, I say, on to me, your crown a vice, no, the whole day. Or we try to make us a mentoma and my NDC now. The vice in Matramano. Me assure say I had a lot of such conversation then in 2008. So sanity. So Bawumia having this crisis, honesty crisis, competence crisis, integrity crisis. There are people who have tagged him, say he's a liar, and who had the economy so live a lot, Now coach you obi. Now kofa obi or no problems are or no one does change running mate and candidates now. Then I think that you are rather insulting the people almost. But that is how I see this whole thing. Because Bawumia having all these challenges, you might want to pick somebody or lesser problems. But nipa no more than a partner or no the problems quite a change kurui. Nina a be arrogance, a be kasa or figure at me say Binyansa kasa no kind of boom 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 like you could see clearly that there is no fiber of leadership. And this thing I'm not taking it personal because I feel insulted. I said within the MPP, there are a lot of intelligent people within the party. They can appeal. And you see, when you look at these political party elections here, Dr. Ren, NDC, any numbers are exclusive order winning elections our Ghana. MPP, any numbers are exclusive order winning elections our Ghana. So in Uber when the power I will chrome here, I have floating voters. especially so party getting a can now the way a man of conduct you so be no why serious of power because is serious the best thing you see so when coming together to form a unified front to be but obia is a person the president obia now one number of moving semuno and I give you strength and advantage to these two parties and it's a war pointing running mate you might look at somebody the popularity no ebetimia prevailing within the neutral bloc because my culture is floating voters and they determine who becomes president in this country so opasa wo jet nja regions in a greater Accra a central and a BA old BA no these are regions that they are unaffiliated unattached to any political party why obetimi anya significant vote from these regions no we are lucky you can win the elections and you know presenting a candidate, you might want to take somebody or make it disappear. But me, as a young man, I'm not sharing a poll on the political platforms in recent times, I think that whoever will even harbor the intentions or Bonnie Dino is insulting everybody, especially if you look at where Ghana is today. Whoever will attempt to mention the Dean Krasa or Mayor Ranimate, is insulting everybody. Because you see, this is a guy who has been dangling from one reckless comment to another, to another, to another. And whenever he speaks, one thing is clear and apparent. The intellectual deficit. The recklessness in his voice. The tone. This is an education minister of Cotton Radio who said, diploma for not the wear certificate. How can you say that? As a minister, no, any other person, we can make that argument and go away. But as a sector minister, what that teacher for now, and Ghana workforce and a teacher for another also training teachers in as for now. Catch you almost say they went to training college because they went there with the worst grader. That's sabi. As I'm and again. In some year canning, Obia no free say, oh, more time, no, and I'll say you're arrogant. If I can't say arrogant, I don't want to go there because arrogant and yet character trait, a compensatory behavioral mechanism. And when people have inner weakness, when people have low self-esteem, when people cannot stand with you and make intellectual argument, they always put on aggressive posture or certain hostility. Because I can say I can argue with you. And I made do what now I say argument, So people with that overwhelming weaknesses, and then they're psychologically or more aggressive or more very hostile and arrogant. And people are dwelling on the arrogance and but the arrogance is a sign of a deep-seated problem which Ghanaians are not willing to explore what that problem is. I mean, that problem is an intellectual deficit. Okasa, a daddy. This is the most important day in his life. The most important day in NAPO's life. The most important day. Yabo stage Yamano, Bawumia, Asene, the Monyam, the Koli the microphone amount said, what you do is acceptance speech. You tell people how happy you are for among the lot to near you to become a running mate. And you, after accepting, you tell people the competencies you bring on board and how you'll be able to partner the other guy to win votes. That is what you do. But go and look at the video. Go and look at his posture. I said, also for original for market, I will preach the book of Revelation. Or no, no, yes, I was the book of Revelation. Until we mean enough, I couldn't preach it. And this guy used the most important day in his life to create the biggest political scandal in his life. And it's a Nipaka said. The poverty of intellect and NAPO exhibitia. How can you disagree with that person? Or this is the most important day in his life. I said, we are saying, so what I know, open us more, this is NAPO day. NAPO used that day to create the biggest scandal in his life by comparing Akufo-Addo to Kwame Nkrumah. And you see, people say, opinions are like noses, and if you got a big one like NAPO, you are entitled to express it anywhere. But the thing is, when you use the expression na mokwame nkroma no, that is derogatory. It's seeking to denigrate the name Nkrumah, because Ghana no say obi NDC new or MPP new or hwan Akufo-Addo ne nkrofo na mba attempting to take the shine away from Nkrumah by changing history, attempting to dump history, change date and stuff. But across the political divide, Ghana for in the diaspora everywhere, obi see Nkrumah as a certain figure, a mixed figure via yenina they rely on, and in Africa, I think the popularity transcended.
And so when you take no Osiki to make Akufo-Addo more superior over Kwame Nkrumah.
Exactly. And you see, that was even unnecessary because that day was your day. Tell people, what are you bringing on board? I mean, my son and Sema or not all day Baba Buau. Now he was singing praises for Akufo-Addo, who a lot of Ghanaians know, say, okay, let me say my personal opinion. I think among all the presidents in Ghana now, he's a disaster. And I don't know the kind of conviction you can buy for me to change my mind, because I've seen a lot of presidents around. I have read a lot about presidents, how they behave, how they conduct themselves, and how they bring leadership to bear. If you ask me, even though I didn't see Kwame Nkrumah, but I've read a little about him, and in Myanmar, the handiworks and the signatures are all over. Trust me, I can sit here and say, Akufo-Addo is a disaster. That is me. And I think there are a lot of your listeners who share the same sentiment. Obiana again, that's fine. But you see, so if you take such a platform on that special day and you peddle such derogatory defensive message, Nkrumah no compare any there. I'm for any issue. But the word Kwame Nkrumah no, because this is a guy yatagi was a this is a guy yatagi was all kasa boom boom boom. This is Obi catch us all kasa won win ho kasa boom. As Obi off or he vomits sentences without having the chance to even think them through. They just come out. So and so several be good form no who they waka. Then after Sadia we yesterday the following day, he goes on radio. This is a vice presidential nominee. He goes on radio and they ask him, say, Asama okay, I don't know, so what is that justification of Komaya? Yes. Instead of him to, because we do a certain level, you see, you don't have to engage in banter. Yes, why we are just patch out now go away. He was insisting, say, I Ghana for you know, I Sabiana, Yansana, Yanti, or Kayana. Now, or no, any there, but by in communication. It is not about the intent or what they can't say no. It is how the recipient get that information and how they process it. And that you don't have control over it. And the way you need to speak in a way nipa no more information will not interpret it to mean say a derogatory, a insulting, a say. But he didn't realize all these things. And later no, as I'm all na man for a catch as an own Semunia or can own Copa Hotel. And sometimes I'm more trocrat, the man or the Bible and obey the obey or no. But you see, I'm not kind of Senkana. This is somebody I had the neighbor say on the vote to ma Bawumia on for vote and become Bawumia vote. That day, no. Do you think that Obi or in Nkrumah, they are movement, they are Nkrumah and those kind of people. Now, can say more, yeah. Are you not disengaging yourself from these people? So Obi or the vote to Ubano. He has ended up taking away vote from Kakrana Wenyano. And you see, I saw something very significant that things Ghana for must pay attention to. There is this lawyer I revered so much. His name is Frimpong Anochi. He's a historian, a very brilliant and intelligent lawyer.
Yeah, I'm some artist or maybe this year Quebec contest here as a BBC. Bisa, but Minyanya sure.
Good. I have listened to him on a number of times. Okasa, he speaks very well. Hardly now, but he says, Okasa Tiobi.
Yeah.
But Napo can't say same way. Go and listen to an interview he granted to a radio station, either in the Western region or Central region. In some of Papa can will tape no. What's your simba fem? Minimum what to be, I can forward it to you.
Matibi na attempted wumpana no.
Exactly. A chance as some okay, no, I got it on his desk. Because these are people, young and I are respecting Nkrumah as a for there, but he as a historian getting the chance to go so close, because your history, you get attached to a person, knowing what he represents, what he has done. No? He felt, say, it was an insult, and the man went berserk. this is a running mate ya do ba say the partner Bawumia na one no munye complete say Ghana for beto amamo montoma mo ene there. That is a conversation you can have another day, but on the day he rather created a scandal. So me, I can't blame him because that is his nature, but I blame the MPP as a political party because you see I think say they have disrespected Ghanaians so much to the extent say Omufri is a big governance and a business as usual, because already you are struggling to sell Bawumia as a candidate. And if you have respect for the people of this country, now Nema Akufo-Addo the Ghana from in the last 8 years, the difficulties, the challenges, and the many ordeals are the average and the ordinary Ghanaian has to battle. Trust me, the last thing you do is to bring on board somebody. Or what problems in your personal attitude na just a whole lot of stuff. And see, when you go into some of these things, I'm for say be a nipa na won penasem. But in the last few days, when we say Ghana for sitting at them, or Professor Nana J call UPS or an address, or buy now people were discussing in some in a very positive light. And again, media trashing. I said no whether say obetimia now own to me, that is another thing. But the people were not discussing the scandals. But this particular one, people were not talking about Asem Papa or Kanyo. It was the scandal that took over the media landscape, and people were discussing scandals. And Nipa or Motesano, young four munko anywhere close near the presidency. Last Friday, now many amount for a year engagement, our Joy News, our Joy FM, Friday evening discussion. And the argument was, oh, why can't we forget about NAPO and focus on programs and policies of your friend is a candidate? Now I say, oh yes, sir. Now I say governance and won't yet. Because you see, presidency is in itself, it's a whole your friend is institutional. It must come with some level of decency and decorum. The occupants of the highest office of the land must seem to exhibit some higher sense of rationality, because their constitutional framers, they didn't care about the president is educated or not, but they were concerned about the intellectual acuity of the president. Say, oh, you're sound-minded, and into a one co school, I say we can become president, but say you cannot become president. So they almost place much emphasis on Nipano, the way a man aware with Nema. Policies and programs do not emanate from candidate or running mate. NDC MPP policies in the programs everybody say even the president nankasa kra na de ba ya, you just express it in the form of an idea. You need to do consultation where party stakeholders will sit down, analyze how are feasible. When they finish, they will give it to policy makers how are able to translate that idea into a policy framework and as to whether it is feasible. Now we are then technical people ask the financing aspect of it, whether it is possible or not. So programs and policies of government in the political parties, and yet the birthright of a candidate. Until we can isolate policies and programs and have a discussion when parties roll out their manifesto. But this day, we are talking about attitude, personality, and of individuals. And that to me, NAPO has failed that test. And I find it quite insulting that he's a running mate of the MP. To be very honest with you, I find it quite insulting because he's not fit for that purpose. He has demonstrated he's not fit.
Korea actually who say a year and painful bit to say a year or say chairman sabonsu, a year or say yawaduchum, and a year yes, chairman sabonsu, and ora ye Joe Wise. Omanko a year, sir, unveiling of NAPO, no man quasi. Do you think is a omo esusu say when you will be a sefata se Ghana you can running mate as a political party to say MPP no omutimi ejino and into no man quasi na I know say they may have one or two reasons, but you know some painful way it was. Is it a concern for the Ghanaian now? No kwa to about say, hey, na mo kra mo kwa a year unveiling munipa say ikra no. Sa etitiri say ikra ye hu omo ewo a year a bonus. Especially obi to say ya we do chuma na ɔne napo ɛyɛ adwuma no ɔyɛ ne ɛyɛ deputy ɛwɔ ɛyɛ education ministry.
Now, and there are sources. I just say already deputy now that time I'm education minister. No, Nkasa. And you see, there is this MP. Immediately Napo's name surfaced, he granted an interview to Joy FM. And as is it Andy Apia Kubi? Yes.
Yeah, Andy, Asante Achimnoto. No crowd me Ohene Kwame Frimpong kwa kutuno independent candidate to be.
Good. Good. So we see asem no okay na. Easy, we are communicators. So sometimes you need to analyze nema among for in the context. Asem no okay no. The meaning free say he was seeking to suggest say even parliamentarians in the Napote parliament, that was the signal I got from the message. Because we can decode. Because our culture said this is a guy on yes show say the young parliamentarians in Kobeti hold on no platform. So and on there or share the character necessary city na I on our point and go for and Oseche mention a duping where people are not moving as to why they couldn't go there. I can't speculate, and I don't want to speculate. But there could be genuine reasons, you understand? Because Eden, say Obada sorry Ghana, near Singapore, vice president. Like how? Eden it's serious. And this is not America, where you think institutions are in place. Because in America, people award Trump by president. Trump by a president. It doesn't matter how radical he is. The institutions are, the machinery around the American government is already set in motion as president, But will changes a lot, and that has to do with foreign policy and as forth. Because internal mechanism as foreign there, they are already gelling. You can't do much to upset the economic engines of America. But in our situation, it's totally different. And if you look at how polarized that we've become in recent times, you need president and our vice president in the rhetorics and to me to bring everybody together. That unity, to unite the people in a common purpose. Do you think Napo is somebody who can do that? So I think I don't know why they didn't go there, but I think yes, Obi Awotie can disagree. Wait, this is not personal. This is my fair assessment of the situation because maybe I'm free say MPP forward a lot of intelligent people within the party. And there are people who make arguments, free Kumasi na there. Let me make this point. Napo, MPP, na Uko Kumasi, Ashanti region is a sworn sponsor of the MPP. The Ashanti region is a sworn sponsor of the MPP without a cause. Ashanti region, Tuabama MPP, they don't need a reason to do that because they identify themselves as their party near. So when you choose somebody from Ashanti region, it's a plus. It only, your friends say, arouse passion and invigorate the base. But as to vote addition, trust me, because Napo, a typical Kumasi person will vote for the MPP. They don't need Napo to be on the ticket. And the argument is just say, free Kumasi doesn't come in. So Kumasi, even if you want to put over for free Kumasi, you look at somebody Asabi. Ghana for ne kasa any issue. Ne koko na koma Ghana for any issue. Ne kasa just everything. But this guy, everything about him is unprecedented. And to be very honest, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the MPP growing up, maybe Pakachi say a party of intellectuals. A bit to me, I degraded to this level. Yeah, and I disagree with those who say they could have gotten other people. And Dr. Ren Winnie, Mijawa, you can mention about 4 or 5 people across the political divide. No, Ghana for Krabenye GD. How bet my
Obiti says Nanka as and Komofano.
Oh, me, I don't want to. Mijayama, Ubeti Bobby. Tell me about people can say we are aware bias and as a boy. Mijamawa. Utu near even a Shanty region crown, I bet you be because even say men say any age summer in terms of your friend saying reputation in the public space. I think people will choose him over Napo.
When every a year Kwabinadi wo now okay about say upapa a year MPP and no can't say me say Ivan, talking is cheap. You mentioned your dad as an MPP member, and now you are insulting MPP and its members. MPP is not best, but NDC is not the alternative. Do you think your dad will be happy if he's alive? I'm sure your father is alive, and
He's not serious. I'm not doing the argument for my father. I'm making valid argument. I'm not here because of my father. Whether he'll be happy or not, that is inconsequential. So I think people should resist listening to programs with raw and cheap emotions. The valid argument and the sense I am making this point, that is what, if there is any business, I am any business, you understand? We need to just get into your friend saying that.
But your father is alive, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because the way I will use your last statement, if your father is alive, I mean, say he got that one also wrong. Your father is alive, opinioni
So, Dr. Ren, I think we need
but he's making a point to say.
Okay.
Utie nasemo a work or make a point to say MPP is not the best, but NDC is not the alternative. Does it mean to say people of MPP no understand say they are not even the best party to even lead Ghana?
You see, that has always been
and governance. One will say governance. Then Kayekuma, we should go in for the best to lead the nation, not any person biakeke to lead the nation. And yes, Anette.
So you see, who is that? Baby, I can't go through no election. Whichever way you look at it, because of John Mahama not a president, and he was crashed out for the MPP. And if you look at how things are turning out to be now, if you that's a whole situation now, goodwill at tilted in Mohammed's favor. That is the only difference. So in order to break that particular goodwill, that is where this argument comes in, that MPP, but the other one is not alternative. Because Obia Otigana say, oh, John Mahama no more than homework to me, because Adam Akufo-Addo. Now head Akufo-Addo abeda, then you say okay, then Senator John Mahama is better. So that goodwill not tilted in his favor, and it's a way that people are just trying to take away that goodwill. But going into this election, if you are not careful, that goodwill will tilt and make an impact in this particular election. So when you hear those arguments, it's a way of taking away this goodwill naturally, are tilted in Mohammed's favor. Because the guy was president, I would say studio enemy. Now be a friend or Juma say, "Ah, Dr. Ren, so you see, the question that's for Charlie. I don't want to meet you and meet me. Now ya catch us a proceed on leave. Nani panamba tinaho. Come and I hear the conversation. When I'm young, or phone so friend, a girlfriend, and as a forum. Then people call back say, and as a Dr. Ren cry, yeah, I'm finding back. So goodwill at that point, tilted in your favor, and your listeners might want to bring you back. What I say, because when they do comparative analysis, compare what and you are even better. You may not be the best, but you are better than the other guy. So that is the crux of the conversation.
Especially when you listen. I mean, I've always said, we are Ghanaian. I mean, we all have the choice to belong to any political party. But then in as much as we have our will to belong to any political party, the truth of the matter, let's say, we should allow our brains, because each and every man owns his own thought. We should allow it to work. And in working, we should ask ourselves to say, Akufo-Addo kachere Ghana ne oman ni nyina ne say, se ono na oye Atamils, ene eye John Mahama, se $1 ni ye 2 cedi mpoa, anka wono at the time no. Obe resign wa pa Ghana for chew. Now fast forward, Ghana for ye na duma be president. Now $1 is 16 cedis. Now, I would think as a rational human being, be a wise as he so, irrespective of which political party you belong. This is where you put on your thinking cap. Now, what you say, asimesi kachre me say, senka $1 ni ye 2 cedi mpoa, and ko no be pamicho, no I resign. Nene $1 ni ye $1 no, ye 16 cedis. Sa asimesi na ashimesi no, wampa micho, wonunso wa resign ye. Nasa still. Nipa to me defend people such as Nana Addoah. I ask myself, say, really, and truly, are we putting Ghana first, or we are putting our political parties first?
And I think the argument I may make our lesson and today, and say up to 2016, the me papa no MPP then would a kufu adu kujina the nima. I heard about time not fucking baby. Because on one him say he has disappointed him big time. I left from the old age, you have seen the word dear Kufuado, and a dear on person or better on a life from Kufuado. And last time I catch a friend of mine, or your medical doctor, or your Dr. Penjinipa, one of the biggest hospitals in Ghana. He was one of the people who were going out advocating Akufuado, and then or Sony TV na Akufuado betos, and I said on cut TV in form. So if these people are expressing disappointment, then as a form, now what to be now again say, oh, now and now make a say, Alan Chamantin class with MDP. Alan Chamantin class with Jay. Now what in China also because what about Akufuado? I said, no, I said.
Ora a year ago for community or the Chelpa about say I apologize for my earlier comment in respect to Ivan's dad. I realize now that it may have been sensitive. I'm truly sorry. The or no the a year Chelpa, but you see,
don't worry.
But you see, yeah, Koswa a jayebe wrap up now Ivan Dene final words Amagana Fuina. Every Monday beyond Yetnasia. Yene Ivan Etwitwen Komo. It's all about Ghana politics and Ghana politics so the makacho say heaven the ebeko but ansani ebeko heaven the prices of tomato no on the market determined by the finance minister. Womobanom the taxes be briba prices of goods no ebo ebeye din ewo jom. This to aba. Don't think about the decision. The decision there, don't think about it. Think about the consequences. What you say? Decision making is easy. Say may make a decision easy. But if you think about consequences, it will really inform you on the decision I'll be making. And one of the consequences that Ghanaians are facing today, and they say, "Yeah, two about the man and now the Danko Akufo-Addo in 2016." I am not going to look for a political party. I may say, "When you're best, and the NDC need or no, you're better saying no." Me our political parties no. Metwa will be a minion GDS or bar. He will put Ghana at a country. It will compete with the likes of China, Canada. Because at the end of the day, we live in a country. You move in to say, a woman need natural resources do the and so ometumpon ako woman name. Now you see, remember Ivan Abemono. Usha a Ghana Kronoa. I've always said, so be catcher was so my Ghana cannot be developed as Anipa Chrono. Manintia CS na adwene wo fam ana manintia CS when you will be knowledgeable I was a wise person I will betimi apply a wisdom to a friend is a natural resources no to take us out of poverty. There is a country, a friend, China, 700 million people as at 1978 equals 1989 already a danger pen the tintin ni tietia ne kase and a giant at the son and Danko Akufo-Addo. He was able to take 700 million people out of poverty. Inti mema politician ni bia medada say na Ghana na edene eyoma dwene no ana eja emu embene ye so metimi aboy free wo hiem. And inti na de bia omoba they give us nothing but the least. And the ones who are woto aba no busan say, do you deserve such treatment na a treatment where MPs no nya akwenya eba UK eba hospital na MP no ote ompeso aso no uhunu se ne yire a de bia wotwi pons a woni ne nante uhunu ne se woni wo the local hospital no to you no and so obusa ho se nyame animu ne kuranie sa MP no osefata so obedi manimu ana adena men se samensa no na me ma obi foforo mba obetimi aba make sure say obe lobby for good hospitals well equipped with a modern friends equipment as means me yare not necessarily say me to kwan ba UK na means me timi akosa hospital ni bi. And these are the things how you Ghana ni esa wo hwe because wo to aba ma politician na ochene bi wono be yare no be ba UK te se Bawumia na echo ye no a obetena UK here obesan ho yare wie ya. The question is obuza say enka ye hospital wo Ghana sanka echo no ye ni nkotena hospital wo Ghana e ma ne san ho yare nti Ghana fo na amumanya echo a munsumuni akwanya moba ye UK no e de ne betumo you will die at a younger age minimum empayfo bebre at the age of 55 50 na eja echo nti no ma wukọ because Akadia no hospitals na one pantem no bi ni ho. Na wanya opanyin bi te say the number 2 servant or yakwa wo onye odehye or yakwa because a public service, not public a friend is a lord, not public a friend is a kinsmanship, a service, and service no kire say brana be som woman no enti som woman no kire say fa mindful ni sika ekotena play mu 14,000 pounds na nado ye ka oso wontie yen ebeko wie kire no ene look at Ghana today. This is a government a COVID-19 by okofa na kontafo eje ebeji sika ewo Ghana port, Ghana airport. Ne nkontafo no wie sika a omde ko mu krom alata yaw. Menka se alatafo no nye, but yewo nkro yewo institution ye no Gucci na at the time the betimi sa a friend is saying contract na ama wo mo te wo man Ghana yamfa ama wo mo de koma alata because of obi 10% nti COVID-19, any Russia-Ukraine war nkwano, Ghana $30 billion US. 33 billion US dollars. My producer say 33 billion US dollars. Now let's ask ourselves, Sasikano, Ivan, would you chat to no na eja? Mama umusu no akono musio kakana next week Asiano.
Dr. Ram, Oti ni say ya na owura ho. I don't know the way a man for who life, but we see me da bia me ka say life no enye gidigidi sa o. Because wona also benye sika, wutumi na mpa me ni so mane nyeye. Opa sidan only chains of houses then as for you can live in the two at a time. We are life ni nyina na say unya de obedi you can make impact, put smile on the faces of other people. And the leadership governance elsewhere adwuma. By your hand, as Debia Mekami, who quite Yankopon fast or boy, a brona jumbon in the way a team back for person who did the and you see the poor people around, we create room for such enterprises to thrive. Memaka said, I don't have any issue with anybody supporting any political party. Yes, you must belong to a political party, be politically viable. But when it comes to choices, decisions at any point in time, you should be willing to punish the person.
Now, I have a mere 2016. Me de misika yes will be the travel plane ticket man. Me tamsika tens of thousands of pounds. Koye campaign my MPP. And you will be a trauma me. It is any se me jinana me ka MPP asema. Me nim the investment time yeah and they mean says for.
Yes. And when you are when I don't know who can who be now be one or to me I criticize here. That is what brings the new way in you to bear. So we can always say because a political party say yeah sorry. Oh, I see a cancer and sorry. No. People out there are individuals who are cashing on other people because we are ignorant, because they don't have access to power. We need to make sure that we hold them accountable. We are the sentinels of our democracy. And the Mayan Tina baby, now Mr. Chrome Hadjoa, Sanka phone to Payo, Sanka Chrome Hadjoa. There are a lot of people who will not travel because Chrome Hadjoa. That is the reason. So we need to make sure that baby, whenever we are joining the conversation, that extreme partisan orientation, we need to do away because having such an exposure, you know what is right, you know what is good, you know why things are working out there. Why can't we replicate same here? Nipa the same nipa na say, but abroad greedy, they are not even ready to create a viable economic environment for Obi to thrive. So you see, renew your mentality. It doesn't matter how far you go. Politics in Ghana and the TNTO and a jig game, a cow, yeah. I want for an be framing from UK or say every week if you score Sunday back Ghana. Now, if it's a Ghana, do what? Nanka, whatever you want, Sunday, Sikana back to Ghana. A cow, yeah. So don't sit anywhere, feign ignorance, or draw ignorance, or out of any cheap at some politics. Indeed, you think there, Menkasa situation, yeah. Situation, yeah, but say this here. We need to get serious. Now, you who said, if we are not going to benefit her, Yanka said, we are working for the next generation. Because unfortunately, but we cannot create the same hellhole arena for our next generation to come and occupy. We need to make sure that we sanitize and change the system so that they will have a better life.
Ivan, ebedasi nyame adumu next weekend so yebeshia yedasi pa.
And that's me. That was here for us, and you can form it here.
Yeah, that's it. Ivan.
Message in this Machiano.
Listener now, yes. Ivan, Sonny Makaja, Ivan or single. Single. Oh no. We may pay back kama. I'm worried.
Oh, they are now sending message. You'll be sending Papa question on a make up a child of
Oh, a year Godfrey Kwabnadi, very learned man.
What's it?
Ivan Suchi, very learned man. Asemu. Obi say, main cancer will say, get up, it's not over. May catcher will not may encourage you, say, encourage someone today not to give up. Check on your friend and loved ones. Because the situation around it and the situation in Ghana is pushing a lot of people to depression stage. We all need one another to keep going. And
the depression is real. I specialize in mental health, and I know what it means when you can't depression. So I think that, like he said, it's good to check on other people because people are going through a lot of stuff silently, and it's whole lot. I'm forced to load and so I'm the air conditioning. I'm forced to load at the demo. It's not easy. You see, life is all about bringing smile to Obi face. It is not about when I'm at all. What they call him? Masa, that farms to grow.
Me say, Ivan, me see me mates be a minimum more lecturers who me send me message now amount of money be a mobi say be happening. Me say, hey. And ordinarily, no, they will never call or send a message to ask. Yes. But the situation, no, ama and you might tear past some. Now the all coin so crack off family mama. Adia bechan, adia besa. Na a year friend is saying, a year CD, a year friend saying, depreciation. Na cano. It lose half of your money. It is any will crack 10,000. 10,000 no as a year 2024 no. 2014 so crack 10,000 and then it's at 10,000 no the value to say okra a friend is saying 4,000 and then the value no at the crap answer
this December na madam for be yes or by UK and as you on account you say or say or the crop your pounds my buy saying or change it then no be about 2,500 pounds 6 months after the same money no and or sometimes 800 pounds.
Can
the same money.